Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. I got the queen, Demetra K. And I am the five-star general. It's something about my special needs babies. It takes some real special people to deal with them. But it looked like somebody dropped the ball. We got a parent here tonight that's gonna talk about it. Let's get to it. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for taking time out to tune in, because you know without you guys we wouldn't have a show. And you are the best audience in the world, so we appreciate you taking time to come and sit down and listen to us. And I'm going to start it off by saying I saw the video of the young man killed in South Lawn. It disturbed me to my core. I really couldn't rest last night because I'm sick of that place. It's been a death trap for over 30 years. I woke up this morning and I started making phone calls. I talked to city council member who's over that district, Carolyn Evans Shabazz, Dr. Carolyn Evans Shabazz. And when I spoke with Dr. Shabazz, she was so shook from what she saw on the video, she was in tears. And she said, we can't allow this to happen. And he just walked up to him and just shot him. I say, but good doctor, they got murders happening in District D that don't even make the news. I say that place been like that forever. So I decided that South Lawn needs to be closed down. So I'm giving y'all fair warning. If you live there, you might need to get your housing voucher. You need to find you something else, because I'm not going to stop until it's closed down. No, I don't want to even talk about reforming yourself and all that, because some of you Negroes don't know how to act. No, it's time for it to be closed down. And I'm not going to stop until I sit in front of that place the day that they tear it down. It's too many people that have died. It's too much that goes on in there. It's 2 ways in, 2 ways out. And I'm being honest with you. You can be mad. We can handle it any way you want to handle it. But I'm telling you, it's coming down. So next Saturday, we're going up in there. We're going up in there. Me, Dr. Muhammad, City Council Member Carolyn Shabazz. I've gotten help from just good people that want to come. They got clothes they want to give away. Man, whatever you want to do. I need some insurance agents. Man, come set up your tent, whatever wares you got. We're going to give it to the people. But I'm telling the people, you don't have much longer. And I'm not going to stop until it's shut down. That place should be a means for you, if you're struggling, for you to get on your feet and get up out of there. I know several people that are doing so well right now that started right there because they didn't let that be the last stop for them. But some of y'all, you want to live there forever, get your PPE loans and your food stamps and all that. I get it. But go get your housing voucher, because I'm not going to stop until they shut it down. Donovan, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, you guys. Welcome to the Friday edition, Free Flow Friday of the War Zone. We welcome you guys for coming and chilling out with us. And a big hello to our special guest tonight. You guys, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news that isn't really important right now, because we always seem to forget about those people in our community and even in our families that are special needs type individuals. And it's almost like they're overlooked. And we're going to hear a story today about such a young man and some of the things that he went through in regards to getting the proper services. And sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, because of their special needs, they are treated as if they're just like a totally different entity of a human being. And we're going to hear a little story about that. But real quick, in the news, as you guys know, they have delayed the trial of the accomplices in the Derek Chauvin case. That has been moved till March of next year, because we are having case after case after case, and they don't want to prejudice the the jury pool in regards to their upcoming cases. Because if they did it by the original dates, it would have like messed up the jury pool, or so they're saying. Another quick thing that is coming out that I guess would be important, especially for those that just voted to get Donald Trump out of office. They are saying, I don't know why it takes so long to get rich people indicted. We just want an indictment. They're saying that they are getting closer and closer to Donald Trump being indicted. He is trying to do a thing with Governor DeSantis of Florida to delay extradition if he's in Florida, if an indictment does come down. So we're going to see, how that goes. This would be another precedent by the Donald Trump people in regards, and he's not being indicted because he incited a riot, tried to overthrow the government. He's been indicted most likely because of tax fraud as a businessman and a failed businessman. So let's get to our special guest, but let's pass it off to Demetra. You guys hold your seats because this story is unbelievable. Demetra?
So yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the Friday night edition of the War Zone. It is Free Flow Friday, and for the first 20 minutes or so, we are going to talk to Miss Stacy Williams Cruz about Mr. Jacah and unfortunately what happened to him. But if we can ask y'all to do us a favor and share this live so everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. We have Facebook and YouTube in the audience this evening. And I would say, especially tonight, you guys do press the share button because we need this message to get out to as many people as possible, because we are trying to raise awareness and try to get somebody to make a move on behalf of Jacah, right? So if y'all can hit that share button. And without further ado, I'm gonna pass it to you, Stacy, and introduce yourself and tell everybody, your story and what the call to action is. What do you want us to do and what do you want to be done?
Good evening, and thank you for having us on the show tonight. My name is Stacy Williams, and this is Jacah Jefferson. He is the inspiration, and I am the founder of Love Has No Disability. And what it is, we spotlight grandparents that are raising grandchildren with disabilities, people in my position. But the reason that I wanted to do the show tonight is Jacah is a shaken baby syndrome survivor. He was abused at 5 months by his biological mother's trusted friend. On January the 26th, Jacob went into cardiac arrest. Okay, so I didn't know that's what he went into, but I called 911 to come out to the Staybridge Hotel to help us because Jacob had been sleeping all day, and I noticed that he hadn't urinated all day. So I'm thinking if I call 911, they can come and give him an IV, maybe even give him a catheter. The paramedics showed up. The guys came in. The first thing that the guy did was touch his wrist and say, "Oh, yeah, ma'am, he's gone." And I said, "What? He's not gone." So I'm explaining he has a low heart rate. His temperature runs low. He's shaken baby syndrome, giving him all his history, medical history. So he said, "Ma'am, well, yeah, there's no pulse. He's gone." I say, "Well, sir, I just gave him a bowel regimen. We just went to the restroom. I just gave him his medication. We did a deep suctioning." I say, "Well, do something." He said, "Well, ma'am, what do you want me to do?" So he told his partner, well, the skinny guy. So I don't know their names at the time. I didn't. I knew one was tall and skinny. One was a little tall and heavy. The skinny guy said, "Well, we can go ahead and put him on the machine." So they hooked up the machine to him, and it did show a flat line. He pointed, the heavier guy pointed at the machine, and he said, "Yeah, see, ma'am, he's gone." I say, "So do something." So they were discussing amongst themselves, and the skinny guy said, "Well, do you want us to, you want to go ahead and do CPR on him?" And so the heavier set guy told him, "Well, yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead and get him." So as they were taking him out of the bed, well, before that, I started scooping him up, and I said, "I'll take him to the hospital myself." So the guy said, "Ma'am, I don't know what you want us to do, because it'll take an act of God." I say, "Well, I believe in him, so do something." So they got him off the bed. The skinny guy got him off the bed, put him on the floor. At this time, Jacob started throwing up. He had stuff coming out of his nose, coming out of his mouth. I'm asking them to suction him, and I'm asking them not to give up on my baby. No suction machine. They act like they couldn't find it. By this time, my husband walked in. Mind you, I live in Atascocita. I was on the corner of Will Clayton and 59. This whole time, my husband was on the speakerphone, and he made it from our house to the hotel, and CPR has still not been administered. So we're looking at almost 15 minutes of me begging them to do something. Another set of paramedics came in, and the Asian guy went straight to Jacah, and I don't know what they discussed, but he started doing CPR on Jacah. After a few, let's say maybe 5 or 10 minutes of that, a few people did CPR. We loaded him up. We got in the back of the paramedics. We sat there another 5 to 7 minutes in the parking lot of the Staybridge Hotel. All I hear is, have you talked to the supervisor? Anybody seen the supervisor? Then the phone rings inside the paramedics. I say, why are we still sitting here? He said, well, we need a supervisor's approval before we can move the vehicle. I'm 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes away from Memorial Hermann Northeast, but they would not transport him to the hospital without a supervisor's approval. So like I say, after 5 to 7 minutes, we finally got to the hospital. They were waiting. They did CPR. They got a pulse. They intubated him, and we headed to Texas Children's Hospital.
And that's very heart-wrenching. And I remember too, once y'all did get to the hospital, you posting and, them basically counting him out. And you're like, nah, that's not the message I'm receiving. And you fought for your baby. You fought for him. And, here he sits, he's here with us. But, I don't even know what to say. Like, what would cause, don't they take a medical oath, to protect and, to preserve life and all of that? And you show up and say, well, even just to say it to you in that manner, well, he's gone, ma'am. Like, what?
Like, it was nothing.
Yeah. So that, to me, that is problematic. And so I know a lot was going through your mind, but how do you compose yourself during that time of so much ups and downs of them? He's gone, and well, now we're going to do CPR, and then we got to call the supervisor. Like, how did you stay composed, if you did in fact stay composed?
Strangely, I did, because I never received that my baby wasn't in there. And everybody that came in the room that I touched, I just kept telling them, please don't give up on my baby. Please don't give up on my baby. Even when we got to the hospital, every doctor and nurse that was there, I'm touching them and I'm begging them not to give up on Jacah. Once Texas Children's, the kangaroo crew came there to transport us to Texas Children's Hospital, there was a Black doctor that came. She was pregnant. And she told me and my husband on the way out of the door, she said, well, there are some things that are troubling me. And so I said, well, what's troubling you? She said, well, I just have to let y'all know that your son is brain dead. We're not even at your facility that you work at, and you made a determination that my child was brain dead. So the only thing I could do is put my hand over my ears, and I'm just shaking my head. No, stop saying that, because he can hear you. Stop speaking all this negative stuff. And I'm looking at her that you have a child that's coming. How would you feel if somebody told you, oh yeah, by the way, just want to let you know your child is brain dead?
Wait. So as you're going through that, and these are supposed to be professional paramedic people, and you seem fairly young for a grandmother and everything, not as old as me and Gary and I, but you remember?
I know.
Well, yeah, we're seasoned. We're very seasoned, but in the time that you've been taking care of your grandson, I'm very sure from the very time that you got custody of him to take care of him, you've been dealing with the negative ramifications of, of dealing with it, because it takes a lot of work to do that. So could you kind of tell us a little bit of, like, when you initially got him, how much work it takes to do a special needs child in regards, and you've got him this far, so big ups to you, because a lot of kids that are special needs, sometimes they don't make it to their teenage years, or within that. So could you tell us a little bit how difficult of that prejudice is in the medical field, and all these years that you've been dealing with that? Because you can't tell me you have not dealt with that from the time that you got him.
Right. Taking care of Jacah, it has to become second nature to you. Just like when you take a breath, you got to make sure he's taking a breath. If you eat, you got to make sure he's eating. So every doctor's appointment that we go to, they tell me what they go to school to learn and what the book tells them that's going to happen to him if this doesn't happen. So I was told maybe when he was like 1 or 2, that if he didn't walk by the time he was age 5, that he would only live to be 21. To me, that doesn't make sense, but you read that in a book somewhere. There was a study somewhere that told you to tell me that. I'm not moved by that type of information. I'm moved by what I see. And just with Jacah, period, he was not supposed to even make it, even from the hospital. 15 days in the hospital, 10 days in a medically induced coma, but nobody's saying what they did to him. But you were in the hands of a 21-year-old for over 20 hours alone, while your biological argued with this person over the phone. So this is the results and the effects of shaken baby syndrome. Mothers need to give these kids a break. Mothers need to know that, because his mom was 18 when she had him, doesn't excuse it. But if you know that you have a child, everybody needs a break. It's okay to let this baby cry and walk away. Babies cry. That's what they come here doing. That's the only communication they know. But as far as medical and what happened at the hotel with the fire department, there is absolutely nothing we can do against them if they decide not to give our children care or our elderly care or give us care. They have immunity through the government against being sued. I was told that it wasn't discrimination. So if it was not discrimination, what was it? Tell me why. Why did you pick Jacah to not do your job?
Well, first of all, you're an angel. A lot of grandmothers wouldn't care.
Thank you.
They wouldn't care. I don't say nothing a lot of days, but I follow you. And I'm a big fan of his. He's a fighter. I've watched him. He's a fighter. And some days he give you the blues. But he's a fighter. I will say this, and for those that are out there watching, because I know we got the eyes of some politicians that's watching right now. You have immunity as it pertains to the law in the state of Texas. Therefore, you say this lady cannot sue you. And I say that you are correct, unless it's proven that you violated the law. And failure to render aid would be considered a violation of the law. Now, the reason that you can't find attorneys to even deal with this issue is most of the attorneys in the city, the law firms that could battle these people are already on retainer fees with them. So they'll tell you, nah, there's nothing you can do, but they won't tell you they already on retainer fees with them. I learned that from the school board, who keeps about 45 of the top law firms on retainer fees in the city of Houston. That's why you can't find attorneys to battle them. But once you can figure out if they violated the law, then you can get around that immunity. I know that for a fact. Think about it. In the school system, they have immunity. But you can't sue them if something happens. Why you think they put them bullying policies in place? Because if a kid is continuously going to the office complaining about the bullying, and the parents are complaining about the bullying, and nobody does something, and something happens to this child, you ignored it. So now you're in violation of the law. So now you can get around the immunity. I don't care what they tell you. And the sad part is somebody in a position of power should want to do something that's right. We will protect government with everything in our power, but we won't protect the citizens that live inside of the government. And I will say, when it comes to a special needs baby, I've said this 1,000 times because I've represented quite a few. It takes some very special people to work with special needs babies. It takes some very special people to want to battle for special needs babies. Well, I tell you what, because I mean, we're going to have to figure it out. I love battling for them. I like battling for my special needs babies. Because on any given day, I ain't got much to do. And I'm in the business of giving people the business. So me and you going to connect, and we're going to see if we can, like my mama say, start a brand new dance called a Tighten Up. Because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. If you show up in old 5-star, stop breathing, you just going to tell my people I'm dead? That baby don't look like he dead to me. How you know he dead if you ain't touching? How you know he dead? And then when he started throwing up and he started spitting up, okay, you know he not dead. What is policy and procedure and protocol from that point? You see what I'm saying? There are things that need to be done. And the one thing I love to do is make people uncomfortable. So you got a soldier on your side, man. We gonna get some act right on this one, because I ain't cutting for. I'm gonna be honest with you. If my man was, just doing what normal kids would do, he'd probably be sitting there every night watching me, because I watch him every day. I watch him every single day. And I'd be damned if y'all gonna shit on him and ain't nobody gonna do something about it. So whoever, city council, state rep, congressperson that's over that section of town where this lady was at that hotel, you can expect to see me, because I'm finna give you the business.
That's right. And, I think, and Stacy, I know you can speak to this, but I think we should also know that the medical system has never been friendly to Black people. They have never been, never been friendly to Black people. They've always seen us differently. And so, it wouldn't be a surprise if they showed up and was like, oh, as a Black kid, looks like he's not there to me. They just do. They treat us indifferently. It's in the history books. And I impress upon you guys to read Medical Apartheid, which I don't know what happened to my book. Somebody lifted it somewhere, but it talks about that in great detail of how the American medical system treats Black people. But so, Stacy, where is the perpetrator that did this to Jacah?
Oh, he's still in prison. We just went before the we just went before the parole board. I think like 2 weeks ago. We had a 11 o'clock appointment. I think we were on Zoom with them for about 20 minutes. At 12:02 p.m., I got a text message that said parole denied. He took a plea deal for 20 years. We were supposed to go, as soon as we got an attorney that was going to take it to trial, he signed a plea deal. But he did 7 years in Harris County Jail. How did you slip through those cracks? 7 years in the county.
And let me ask you this real quick, because I'm in California and some of my folks are giving messages. This isn't about seeking a lawsuit. I don't think that this is an issue of money. This is an issue in regards to how special needs kids are treated and what happened to your grandson. Am I correct?
Yes, and this is the issue to me. Why did you do him like you did? And number two, if something happens right now, I can't call 911. I would have to put him in my van and take him to the hospital myself, because I don't trust y'all. Because you looked at him and felt like he didn't have a good quality of life. Did you see the wheelchair, or you saw this naked Black baby laying on the bed? Because when the attorney called me, the one thing she kept asking me was, why didn't he have on any clothes? If you read my complaint, you would know why he didn't have on any clothes. And why does that matter? He needed some help. So if the money comes, the money comes. Our life has been turned upside down since this incident. It's just me and Jacah. Me and Jacah got to make it happen by ourselves now.
Right, exactly. So,
do you think that if you were of a different pigmentation, that Jacob would have been treated differently? Do you think if Jacob was white, he would have been treated differently?
Absolutely. We would have been doing CPR on the way to the hospital. He wouldn't have been laying on the floor butt naked at a hotel with vomit coming out of his nose and his mouth for 15 minutes. What was the reason? Something had to be the reason.
And no attorneys would help you. None.
They won't touch it. They all told me the same thing about the immunity with the government. They did let me know that if we would have had a car wreck in the paramedics, then I would have a lawsuit. But because they didn't misuse any type of equipment, although they refused to use the equipment, there's nothing they can do.
Well, what made them eventually use the equipment? Did the supervisor call?
When the Asian man came in, he started doing the CPR.
Hold on. So the white ones didn't do it.
Not a thing.
They needed to wait for the supervisor to call, right?
They needed to wait for the supervisor to call to take us to the hospital.
Okay.
But inside the room, they didn't do CPR until the Asian man came in and he started the CPR. The first two guys didn't do anything for him.
And how long was that gap between them coming in and the Asian coming in?
That's what I say, about 15 minutes.
So no aid rendered for 15 minutes.
None. My husband made it from our house to the hotel, and it was still no CPR being done. And this is at midnight, so I woke him up. So he had to get dressed, get in his car, drive to the hotel, walk through the hotel to get to our room, and our child is still on the floor. Nothing's happening.
So here's my question. What made the Asian guy just start CPR when the other two wouldn't even do it?
I don't know. Because when the Asian guy came in, it was another short guy with him. He started asking me questions. So I'm explaining to him Jacah's name and his medical records. And to me, I feel like I was being distracted. But I did see him doing the CPR.
So nothing stopped the Asian from doing the CPR, but the other two wouldn't do it at all.
Not at all.
That's failure to render aid, man. That's why I'm majoring in law, man. This is bullshit. That's exactly why I'm majoring in law, man. Our people need better representation. Yeah. We need better representation, and this is sickening.
One of the people have asked, do you have a funding source set up so that they could donate, for possibly, legal representation or anything of that nature?
Yes, I do have a Cash App.
I just put it in the comment section to Gary. That's what I was looking for. So I put it in the and I hope I spelled it right. But I put it in the comment section and I also put in the PayPal. Gary, if you can highlight that on the bottom of the screen and tell me if I spelled that right, Miss Stacy.
Okay. Love has no Bility. I can't see it. It's little.
So on the Cash App, that's Love Has No Disability. $sign Love Has No Disability. Okay. Yeah, and for those that are listening out there, as we know, a lot of attorneys will not get involved because they want a deposit or a retainer to get involved. And in the military, I had a friend that had a special needs son. And let me tell you, it is very difficult to be a mother, especially if you're a single mother in the military and you have special needs because, your job comes first. And, they wanted her to give her child to her mother and all stuff. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. And, we need to get justice. This isn't about the money. This is about justice for people, especially special needs people, because a lot of situations, they can't speak for themselves. His grandmother is speaking for him. If she was not there for this young man, he would be in another place than where we're at right now there. So, so we need to start helping ourselves. If we've learned anything in these last 6 years, is that we have to start helping ourselves, because nobody's coming. So if you guys, have it within your heart, please donate to this so that this family can at least get the ball rolling, and we can get some legal representation and just get the ball rolling and get some justice for this family.
No, absolutely. And I actually put up the corrected spelling. Somebody said, you can't spell. It was missing an I. So, Gary, if you could put that up there. There's also a PayPal there as well, and every little bit helps. I don't care if it's $1, $5, $2, whatever you can do. Please donate to the cause. As you said, it's just them two. There's a lot that goes into just not even just caring for someone who's disabled, but for yourself, right? Like there's a lot of things that needs to be done. And so I know for a lot of people, it's Friday, it's payday. And so if you can, any little bit you have, we would greatly appreciate it. So I put both of them in the comment section. And so, Stacy, ultimately, you want somebody to be held accountable for what they did to Jacah. So, Gary.
And I want the law to change.
Yes.
If we can change the law, I need that to change.
And then
I tell you what, man, I'm good with a couple of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. And when I say both sides of the aisle, I mean Republican and Democrat. I just see people, but I got good relationships with them. And what I'll do is I'll talk to a few of them and see what we can do. This session is almost over, so that'll take about 2 years for them to go back in and see if we can get some type of law passed to protect our disabled people, not just the babies, but disabled people, because this should never happen. This should never happen. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When people are disabled, they don't give a damn if they black or white. They treat them all like garbage. I'm being honest. They treat them all like garbage. So, I'll definitely do that. And I'm talking to some legislators on a daily basis. So I'll definitely get with them and see what we can do to get a bill passed and see if we can make sure that these babies get the right care. Disabled people get the right care, because they deserve better than what we give them.
Stacy, I know it's kind of hard to see, but is that you?
Yeah, I can't see it.
It has it's like a black picture, and it has like a gold little V on the bottom. And somebody's wearing blue on one side and has writing on the in the middle of it. I can't blow it up. I wish I could.
Let's see. I don't even know what my own Cash App look like. Oh yeah, that's me.
Okay, I just want to be sure. All right, so I'm sending mine, y'all.
Yeah, we have to start taking care of our own. And like the 5-star said, this is a group of people that have no voice. Nobody's thinking about them. And as a taxpayer for myself, I happen to know a lot of our funds go toward supporting and supplementing these families that have special needs kids. But yet nobody's thinking about how they're being treated by the medical practitioners and the people that have to service them. And it's like the 5-star said, and I've seen it myself. They are treated like they're nobody, like they are just nobody. So we need to get the laws changed, and we need to get legislation and all that other stuff done. And we need to start supporting our own people within our community. So
they have
my
no
prayers
voice.
are going to go out to you.
They have no voice. But in all actuality, they have an economic value to the system. They make tons of money off of special needs people. They make tons of money. The school system makes tons of money off of our babies. And yet they're treated like 4th-class citizens. No, you're going to treat them the same. Bro, when I tell you I go in on them with these special needs kids, I go in on them, bro, because they make tons of money off these people. But you know, the way that they're treated, no, we have to definitely start taking care of our own. We can't depend on this.
Yeah, you know, and here's the funny thing, and I'm sure the grandmother knows this as well. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but one of the smartest men, he recently died, I think last year, Stephen Hawking. You know, he had a disease that disabled him completely, and he had to be special needs for for a good majority of his life. Stephen Hawking, the guy that invented like space travel and did all those mathematical equations. So just because a person is special needs doesn't mean they don't function. They just function in a different way. And we got to stop looking at these people as if, oh, well, they're in a wheelchair, so they don't understand or whatever. They can communicate, they can hear, they have feelings. And trust me, some of them are as smart and as intelligent. They probably have bigger bank accounts than most of us sitting around here, you know, just based on what they do in whatever fields they decide to go in. I've seen them graduate colleges and work for big old institutions and all kinds of stuff. And again, a good example of that would be Stephen Hawking. But I just want to say, as a caregiver, I know it takes a lot of work. I know it's an unsung duty, because as a grandmother, you know, as a grandparent, you don't have to do that. You didn't have to do that at all. But you know, you stepped up to the plate and you did that. And, you know, and sometimes we also forget the caregivers that do take the time to do that. So I just want to thank you for that and for bringing the story so that we can not only get justice for Jacah, but also for other special needs people, not just children, but just that group of people in general, because they are no different than us. They just think and work and do things in a different manner that we take for granted.
And how much more time does his abuser have left in prison?
He took a plea for 20 years. So we're 14, but you did 7 of those in the county.
Say that again.
He took a plea deal for 20 years. So he's been gone for 14, but 7 of those years he did it in Harris County Jail.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. It's a new breed of punk running around here. I remember back in the day, if you did anything to a child and you went to jail, you didn't survive 3 days. You didn't survive 3 days. So, you know, on this show, we got all kinds of people watching. And the only thing I can tell you, young man, is, you know, God bless you. But the streets got something to say.
Yes, indeed. And so I had to dip out. I was actually speaking to a lawyer and seeing, you know, it was something that can be done. And he pretty much, you know, said what you had already said about it, you know, what they told you. And so, but, you know,
the lawyers are punks. let me just tell you this. The lawyers are punks. You can get around the immunity if they violate the law. I've seen it done. I've been a part of it. If you can prove they're violating the law, that gets you around the immunity. The thing is, they're going to have to battle.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He says you got to prove, you know, he was saying causation, right? So
how many cases have you seen personally where somebody ends up going to jail for failure to render aid? You see what I'm saying? They didn't give this baby any aid.
Well,
but then the Asian walked in and he gave him aid. Them two that came there, and see, it's sad because you people need to understand, the two that showed up were white. No, you can prove if you're going to have to battle. And see, me, that's why I want to be a lawyer, because I want to battle. I want to battle, and I don't care. But those that, you know, it may take a year, it may take 4 years. Who cares? But we can't get any justice. Hell with that. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't think you should, you know, do that to somebody's baby and just say, well, you know, it is what it is. What's on the menu for dinner? I don't think you should be able to do that either. I think And like you said, the laws do need to be changed. You can't just say, well, we aided in furthering harming your child and there's nothing you can do about it. Because who's to say they won't do that to somebody else's child? And if they haven't already. So yeah, you're right. The laws do need to change. And so you guys, again, I see so many people have donated, so we thank you so much. But for those of you who haven't and you're thinking about it, go ahead and do it. But anyway, so final thoughts, Stacy, of what you want us to know before you leave here.
Well, I appreciate you guys having us on. I appreciate the help from you, 5-star, and you guys as well. My final thought is just those 2 guys that showed up, they need to sit at home, because if they haven't killed somebody, they on the road to doing it. I saw it with my own eyes. As far as Jacah and his disability with shaken baby syndrome, we need to take some classes, or we need to be more aware that shaken baby syndrome does exist, and it happens at the blink of an eye. So we need to help these young mothers, even the old mothers. They need to know you can walk away. And thirdly, I just want change. I just want the laws to change and treat us like they would treat anybody else.
I totally agree.
So, all right, well, we're going to let you and Jacah go. And we appreciate you for coming on. And anytime you want to come on, you know how to reach Gary, you know how to reach me. And then hopefully, you know, our friend Donovan, and just say, hey, I got something else to say. I want to come on. This is your platform too.
Thank you. And I do want to let you know, 5-star, that Jacah knows this music. He knows when I'm watching the War Zone.
Well, I tell you what, you tell my friend that I'm an old script club veteran, and I'm finna have somebody shaking like booty meat, because this ain't working for me. They finna be shaking like a stripper at $2 Tuesday. All I need to know is the paramedic's name. I ain't got no problem coming visit you, and I cook barbecue on your sidewalk, homeboy. But you ain't finna get away with this. But yeah, tell me this some dope music. I'm gonna play some dope music later on tonight. He might like that too.
Yeah, and we're gonna follow this up and just check on you. So keep us posted. What where you're at in the process and things like that. So
I will. Thank you guys so much. And say good night.
December baby. I put up the Gary. Can you put up the PayPal, because they want to know if there was another way other than Cash App. So there's a PayPal as well. But see, I'm on Facebook and you're on Donovan. Can you copy and paste that and put that on the YouTube link? All right. So we're gonna put the PayPal and the YouTube link as well. So we appreciate you. And all right, Stacy. Have a good evening. Like I said, this is your platform too. So anytime you want to come on here and say something, or just give us an update of what's going on with you and Jacah, we would love to have you. Just say the word.
Wow, that was a story right there. But another day in the life of being a Black person in the United States, but yet there's no racism. I mean, I always tell people this: when you're dealing with the deaf, I got a cousin that's deaf, right? And I never treated him any different than as if he didn't talk. To me, a deaf person is no different than somebody who talks German or who talks, in a different language. It's just a different language. So, we do have a propensity to be discriminatory within our own group against people who are special needs. But we need to follow up on that story. That's going to be a great story.
Absolutely. And she touched upon something in regards to, shaken baby syndrome. And a lot of people may have heard of it, but really don't know what it entails. And, from the best of my knowledge, is when you shake a baby, a baby is but so big, right? And you have a bigger person who is frustrated with the child, they're crying or whatever, and it's what it is. They shake the baby and it rattles their brain, right? And it causes a lot of damage to the baby. And so, Jacah is the result of when somebody does that. And I just kind of want to talk about coping skills just for a little bit. because that is a lack of coping skills. And, you know, I was a young mother once a long time ago, right? When I was 21, I had my daughter. And I remember, you know, times when she would cry and I was just like, you know, but that was a temporary thing, right? Like we've all been there, but we don't go over the line. Like we just say, okay, I'm having a moment. This baby is getting on my nerves, but it's not the baby's fault, right? My daughter had colic, you know, so you guys know what that is when a baby has colic. They cry and scream all the time, but you know, it's really a lack of coping skills. Like, what do you think is going to happen to a small, tiny human when you do that to them? You know, that's not going to, I mean, it might make them be quiet, but look at the damages that you do. And so I just really wanted to say that, you know, if that is potentially you know, you have a small baby and you're going through some things, like she said, you know, call grandmama, auntie, the neighbor, somebody. Hell, they even got a lot of these stations now. They call them safe havens, where you can just drop the baby off, you know, up to a certain age with no questions asked. But it's better to do that than to do what was done to Jacob, because there is no coming back from that. And so, like she also said, we also need to be cognizant that, like she said, Jacob's mom was 18. And, you know, if that you have somebody that is that young with a child, reach out to them. You know what? Do you need me to watch the baby for a couple of hours so you can just go get a woosah, or just, you know, take a walk, or go get you some lunch, something? Just, you know, it's not going to hurt us to do that, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of grown people who are having a hard time coping with babies, and so let alone a baby with a baby, right? So just, you know, be diligent and vigilant when it comes to things like that. That's very helpful.
Well, you know, speaking to the young fathers, same thing. You know, some of you guys are just coming into your peak. You don't know the size and the strength. You might be thinking you're just playing with the baby, and, you know, you're just kind of putting it on your lap or whatever, and you're shaking it, or in a moment of frustration. You know, you just don't know how intense a shake can be on a brain that is still developing with all that fluid inside the brain. So, I mean, it's very easy to happen, and it's easy to catch a case on something that was basically an accident. And in a lot of cases, it's intentional. You know, you didn't mean it, but you did it intentionally, not knowing that you would do severe damage to a baby. I can say for me, the good thing for me was I didn't give my mama no problems. I was a real quiet type baby, so I was really good with that. But, you know, but things like that does happen in our community, and we need to, as a community, like you said, these young mothers that are out here. Number one, you shouldn't be a young mother at that age to begin with, but things happen, and we're not admonishing you. We're just saying, just because, you know, you're a young mother doesn't mean you know everything. There are older women in the community, you know, reach out. And even the older women, reach out to these younger girls and give them a break. And when we say give them a break, that doesn't mean so they can go to the club. It doesn't mean so they can go, do stuff like that. Just give them a break.
Right there, partner. Stop right there. He was doing good because
he really was.
Up until that point, right? Because I don't want it to make it seem like, you know, for whatever reason it is. I don't care if they do want to go to the club. If you can see somebody is at that point, give me the baby. Give me the baby. Go shake your ass, whatever. Just as long as the baby is intact, because, you know, I guess we just don't want to go down the road of trying to qualify why I should watch your child. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was a young mom. You know, 21 is grown, but it's not grown. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And like I said, there was a time or two where I wanted to just, you know, chuck my baby, you know, but I didn't. But I get it. But I think, you know, a lot of things happen in, there are a lot of evil people out there. I don't want to say that some people don't do it on purpose, but there's just some things that people do in a passionate moment of just frustration, and they cross the line, right? So,
well, I'm gonna say this here, man. First of all, we need to come up with a new syndrome called shaker knuckles syndrome. Need to start putting our hands on these dudes, put their hands on them kids. That's the first thing. Now, if you want a break from being a parent, then stop fucking. Stop getting pregnant. Ain't no such thing. Not these people that raised us. They ain't take no breaks. I mean, look, you want to be grown, understand what comes with raising a child. You give up your life to give them life. That's the way I see it. I might be totally wrong. But I don't believe in it. Oh, I need a break from it. No, you should have stopped fucking. And I'm dead serious with that.
You're not totally wrong. But what we do when we do that is, and you was doing good too, just like you was doing good. But what happens is it's almost like and the term slipped my mind, but it's hindsight is what it is. It's hindsight because they shoulda, woulda, coulda stopped, having sex irresponsibly to have the child, but they did, right? And the baby is here. And so, it just, most people, hell, I don't know about myself. I would hope that I'm here on purpose, but a lot of us are here because, and it was unplanned, right? A lot of us are oops babies. So the point that I'm making is we are here. And so the baby needs to be dealt with accordingly because it is the most innocent factor in the equation, right? The baby has nothing to do with, irresponsible and all of that. And so we need to make sure that that child's better interest is always served, regardless of who the parents are.
I get that part, and I don't take that away from you. But what I also know is some of these kids get out here and have kids thinking that they mamas and daddies going to take care of them regardless. Say, man, you want to get out there, shake your ass with your little half-baked shorts on, you better take care of your child. And more importantly, stop having babies for these sorry Negroes. 90% of them you knew was sorry and unstable when you was messing with them. Then you go get pregnant for them. Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, and real quick, speaking of that, let's transition. That shooting that happened in Houston, that's very disturbing, not only to you, 5-Star, but I mean, I was thinking about that all day today. Did they ever get down to the nitty gritty? Because, I was analyzing it and listening to some of the reports on it. And it's almost like the people were just like, he's dead. Let me check his pockets. And we're going to go down to the store and get some more Zuzus and yays and all this other stuff. Was there ever a follow-up to that situation?
Young man was over there doing tattoos. To the best of my knowledge, because I know some people that was in his family. He was over there doing tattoos, laid back, mild mannered kid. He didn't hit that girl. That girl pointed him out. She pointed the wrong person out. She actually initiated that. So he ends up going to jail. He gets a bond from a judge. The bond is $40,000. And we all know that these bondmen are just like them old rent-a-center places where you could get a TV. You can pay monthly or weekly payments. So he probably paid $1,000, and now he's going to pay the other 3 through installments. So I think that if you're going to charge him with first-degree murder, his bond should have, because of the malice that was involved, his bond should have been no less than $250,000. That's what his bond should have been. But you gonna give a motherfucker with a tiger a bond for $300,000. Now the only thing the man did wrong with the tiger was the tiger got out. Because as long as the tiger is not in the city limits, it can be in the county, that he could have it. That's the law. You see what I'm saying? But you gave him his bond for $300,000. How much was Michael Vick's bond for some damn dogs? It's not justified. And the thing is everybody, the DA, now that's on the judge. The judge set that bond. Now, I believe in bail reform, but we've talked about this 1,000 times. Bail reform for misdemeanor stuff, yeah, I get it. But something like this here, no, that bail should have been high as giraffe pussy.
And I want to say something about that tiger too. It has stopped me from going outside and running at my park cold turkey because they don't know where that tiger is. Like, they know where the dude is, but they don't know where the tiger is. Now, I don't know if y'all saw the video, but he got loose because he was inside the house. He got loose and the neighbor was about to gun the tiger down, and the owner was begging him not to do it. And they had Carol Baskin, you know, from that movie, Tiger King. And, you know, she was basically saying how, you know, any sudden move, the tiger is probably going to attack. And so I know I'm not going outside until they find it. I don't know where it's at, but Gary, did I mistake?
Where I'm from, you know, yeah, the tiger is loose, but these knuckles is loose too. I'm scared to come outside for knuckles.
Hold on. So did I mistake you in you saying that the bail was $40,000?
$40,000. I got the paperwork.
How?
Well, you have to understand, and I don't want to throw the man under the bus. And you know, bail reform was a big thing in Harris County, and they want to make sure that people get bonds. You have to be able to get a bond. Listen, hold on, let me finish. So Commissioner Ellis, you know, was one of the main people out here battling for bail reform. But for something like this, 40,000, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's the only word I have for it. That's bullshit. Human life should be far more than 40,000. And the way that he did it, that's first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and aggravated robbery. And all we got is 40,000. Well, shit. Man, if they catch you outside choking your chicken, your bill gonna be high.
You ain't lying. I will say this. I'm for bail reform, but I just think that's just super ridiculous. We all saw what happened. We all saw that video of him walking up to him and doing what he did and dug in his pockets and left. And not only should he have been in jail, the girl should be in jail too, because I saw the video of her pointing him out, you know, and told him to go get him. And then once he did, oh, I didn't mean for him to do that. It's like, what? You incited this. So I mean, $40,000. I mean, that's evil. That's evil to do to the victim.
It's not evil. That's Harris County.
Evil, just evil.
That is one of the reasons that the crime rate in Houston is rivaling Chicago, because you can do anything under the sun and you're going to get multiple bails. You're going to get bails that make no sense. They're going to be so low that it doesn't matter. And they just let them out. I mean, a cop can kill innocent people in a botched raid, and they walk him out the back door of the jailhouse. He ain't even been there 5 minutes. When I know if me and you go, it take 3 days to process us. You see what I'm saying? So it's all.
He just hit the wrong button on there. But yeah, I agree with you, Demetra. The girl, I mean, but did you see how calm she was during the shooting? That's what really bothered me there. Go ahead, Five. So what were you saying?
I mean, it's a joke to me. I saw your comment, where's Black Lives Matter? Man, F Black Lives Matter. Where's the black people in the community that should be outraged? You know, I was thinking the day I'm driving it, I'm thinking, if I don't raise no hell, who gonna raise some hell? If I don't go on a mission to shut this place down, then who gonna raise some hell to get it shut down? That young man is not the first one to be murdered over there, you know, cold-blooded like that, man. You know, when I say we were able to get these guys to put guns down for 8 months, it included that community. So we know what we're doing. The thing is, when I heard, you know, I'm tough on politicians. You know what I'm saying? I'm tough on politicians, no matter if you're good with me, my friend, whatever. When I heard Dr. Shabazz on that phone this morning, she was crying because she was so hurt by what she saw. I just had to remind her, you know, good doctor, let me tell you a secret. You got murders happening in your district that don't even make the news. They dumping bodies in garbage, you know, garbage dumpsters and all kinds of stuff, and it don't make the news. When is somebody going to step up and do something about the crime in this city? So, next weekend, you got a lot of good people. Like I told them, man, we ain't turning this into no political event. It's a public servant event. We going out there, we going to serve the community, but at the same time, we going out there and educate the community. But I really just want to give them the information that baby, I got love for you, but you might need to start getting a housing voucher because this ain't gonna stay open long. I'm finna cut up, man. I'm finna cut up. This ain't finna stay open long. And it's not just that neighborhood. Al will know, Demetrius just getting it. We talking about Sterlingshire. We talking about Crofton. We talking about Haverstock. The Dead End. You see what I'm saying? The jailhouse apartments. It's up when you live where they named your apartments the jailhouse apartments. But this is the normal in this city. And it's like, oh, well, they just shot him. Let's go to Burger King.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree, Gary. Is that place? It sounds like a Cabrini Green. You remember those apartment complexes in Chicago? Candyman was supposed to be standing up there. That's how bad it was.
Well, I tell you this here: the first thing that should have been done years ago. This is a subsidized housing facility, low income. Okay, most of the people have housing vouchers. Why isn't the Houston Housing Authority, following protocol? Most of these girls shouldn't have guys living in the house with them. They shouldn't. I mean, they not on the lease. Another thing, HPD normally has a cruiser there every day, all day long. How does this happen with a police officer right there? Because honestly, y'all scared to go in there. There's only two ways in. It ain't like you could go in and make the loop and come out. No, it don't work like that. You go down one street. If you get to the end, you're going to have to turn around, come back out. Go down the other street, you're going to have to turn around, come back out. So they know the history of this place. They know the history of this place, man. And I'm at the point where, I mean, it is what it is. Next Saturday is the George Floyd Memorial Walk. And the good doctor say, well, I'm going to have to do double duty because I'm coming, Monroe. I need you. And guess what? It don't take Gary Monroe. It just take a bunch of concerned citizens. Now, I will say this because I want y'all to elaborate. If anything of this fashion would happen in an affluent neighborhood, how fast would the city of Houston respond and shut that shit down? So people saying it's nothing we can do, you a lie. Because they ain't gonna let it happen in a white neighborhood. They ain't gonna let it happen in an predominantly Asian neighborhood. They allow this to happen in our neighborhood. And the reason that they allow this to happen a lot of times is because they want to gentrify the neighborhood. So they let it go to hell so they can run people up out of there. And then all of a sudden, you see the dog trails, the bike trails, the white folk walking at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And now all of a sudden, the whole neighborhood transforms. But you can't do that while black folks stay in there. That's because they want them out.
Yeah. And that's what I said last night is city sanctioned genocide. They know what's going on and they just say, oh, well, let the Negroes kill each other and pretty soon we'll take that back. And we just don't realize that. But I spent a lot of time in South Central, as Walter said. Our father had a shop right smack dab in the middle, so I'm not a stranger to that. I've been in present where 3 shootings took place in my whole life, so I'm not a stranger to any of that, but I just couldn't imagine living in an area like that where that's the everyday life. As we've heard, grandparents can't sit on the porches anymore. Babies can't even be with their parents anymore because they're getting caught in the crossfire. And, so I agree, Gary. I think places like that do need to come down. It just needs to be completely torn down and repurposed. I don't know for what, but it's not serving any good. It's just a death trap. You know, and as you said, they call it the jailhouse. And they got a lot of places like that all over America. You know, the Trap, Great
the Carter,
you know, just places of pure misery and death. So some people will get mad and say, well, where are people supposed to live? It's like, well, are you living anyway if you have to stay in an area like that? I mean, there's a lot of people who didn't sign up for that, but they're over there because, for one, they, you know, grew up in the neighborhood and maybe that's what they can afford, but yet they're terrified to come out of the house because you got people terrorizing the neighborhood.
90% of the people over there own housing vouchers. Give them a goddamn housing voucher and send them somewhere else. They ain't paying no goddamn rent over there like talking about $15, $20 a month. Send them to somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, you need to make sure that your people are doing their follow-throughs and their follow-ups to make sure everybody's living by the policies and procedures that they need to live by. A lot of these girls live there. You lie on your application like you're living there by yourself. Before you know it, before you get the fucking furniture in, you done moved the shady Negro in. All they doing is selling dope out the apartments. So it ain't like these people don't know what's going on. But some people make money off the demise of Black people.
Yeah, here in California, you know, they wanted to get out of giving a Section 8 section, like the Cabrini Garden.
Did he freeze up?
Yeah, he having some connection issues, it seems like.
Well, I tell you what, I've been getting a lot of inboxes.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
So
they gave these.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they gave these people Section 8, and they said, okay, we're gonna give them Section 8 and diversify them out into the community, right? So they moved the people out to the suburbs and stuff, but they got away from that for the simple fact is that woman house, when she moved to that house, she was bringing the bullshit with her, the boyfriend in the middle of the street arguing and stuff like that. So California went completely away from the Section 8 and that whole experiment. And they said, you know what, you're just gonna have to find you something else to do. California just got done with it because it was too expensive for the state of California to continue to subsidize these people that are just tearing up properties and causing more disruption for the police departments that couldn't cover real crimes.
Well, I tell you what, man, you know, we lighten the mood up if y'all cool. A lot of people, they love the song I did. And some people, I don't know what it is, but I've been getting inboxes, man, can you play the song on the show? I say, well, I talk to my folk. And y'all know I ain't talked to y'all about it. I ain't talked to y'all. I mean, but if you cool with it, I'll play the song for them now. I want some good feedback. Let's see if we can get some good feedback. So let's play the song for y'all. This is what I went in the lab to do. And let's go. Can you hear?
And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through that front door. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through that front door. Sunny side, man, we gotta make a man. Them boys in Home Park, man, we gotta make a man. Say Westbury, baby, man, we gotta make a man. It's Monroe in District 9, and it's time to kick some ass. Say, man, it's been 4 years, now it's 4 years later. And all I can say is it's 4 years wasted. The district on the BS, teachers ain't getting paid. Trustees is looking stupid with the things they say. District 9 up again, so I'm coming cutthroat. Man, you know what it is, so you know how it go. The kids ain't learning, the schools ain't safe. They shot a kid at Bear Land, board members just saving face. Everybody looking sideways, that ain't the flyway. Parents afraid to pull out the driveway. Virtual learning, nobody can't feel it. District 9's hurting bad, navigate the pandemic, but we gon' win it this time. Go in the voting booth, big homie Monroe in District 9, and put put me in the seat that I rightly deserve. I got beat 4 years ago and I continue to serve. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. Sunnyside, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Them boys in Home Park, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Say Westbury, baby, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Monroe in District 9, and it's time to kick some ass. Say ain't no boys like them Sunnyside boys, cause them Westbury boys don't play. Okay, soon as I step up on the scene, you see that look in my eye. It's the OG, baby, reppin' the South Side. I'm on the real, dog, you know what it is. 9 years in the game, getting down for the kids. I'm fighting for the programs, plus I give them the business. How you do it like that, dog? These bastards wouldn't listen. From lawsuits to Fed cases, I did it all, dog. And if the kids ain't good, I get a phone call. Open your eyes, trustees is sitting high. With these underserved schools from the north to south side, we gotta fix special ed, gotta fix GT, and put the kids in the classroom and out of the streets. From the war zone, baby, we bringing the heat to the madhouse, Westbury, time to eat. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. Sunnyside, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Them boys in Home Park, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Say Westbury, baby, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Monroe in District 9, and it's time to kick some ass.
Yeah, check it, the school system been up to no good, especially if you're black or brown and you from the hood. Even when I was going to these below average schools, we was using the same books our granddaddies used. I got a call from Monroe, he said let's do a track and get up in their ass for trying to hold these students back. He scared the hell out of them, they hate him but still respect him. That's why my homie go viral every time he check them. How can they win if beneficial programs are missing? So he gon' take that position and body slam the system. Robbing our children, man, it's almost like these fools looting, and our students ain't the ones doing them school shootings. They set the hood up to fail, that's the bottom line, cause in their eye your child ain't nothing but a dollar sign. Monroe kicking in that dough like I told ya. District 9 about to get a certified soldier.
In case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. And in case you boys ain't know, it's Monroe in District 9 coming through the front door. Sunnyside, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Them boys in Home Park, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Say Westbury, baby, man, we gotta make 'em mad. Monroe in District 9, and it's time to kick some ass.
Man, my favorite part of that video was you have the heavyweight championship belt up. I love that
Well,
part.
actually, that belt was, I won that belt 2 years in a row for being the activist of the year. 2 years in a row, I won that belt for being the activist of the year. But you know, I'm my worst critic when I do a song, and I want to send a big shout out to my man K Reno. And Al say, who is K Reno? When Scarface say you one of the greatest rappers he'd never heard, you a bad boy. K Reno, legendary in Houston, the Wizard, South Park Coalition. And it was an honor for me to be able to do a song with him. Trust me when I tell you. And but I think that what you got the song, but the video gonna be crazy. I'm thinking about bubble baths and jacuzzis.
You need a twerker?
Trust me, they coming.
Donovan said he's available.
Trust me, they coming, man. But I think everything we said in the song, you know, was the truth. But you know, like I told him, I say the line that got me when he say, you know, they had us using the same books our granddaddies used. Yeah, that's the truth. So yeah, we had some fun that night. The lights went out that night, and we didn't even know if we were going to record. And then they came back on at the last minute. There was a storm, and they came back on, and we were able to do it. But I will tell y'all this here, and I mean that with everything in my fiber, because I come through the rap game at a different time. That if you put me in a room with 5 of the greatest of all time, I'm coming out in the top 3. I'm that cold. I'm gonna put that chip on my shoulder, man. I'm the best kept secret in Texas. I can promise you that when it comes to music.
Yeah, I mean, it's most definitely fire. I actually like it. I'm looking forward to the video. Absolutely. I should come out there, huh?
What you waiting on? Bring the hell out there. Yeah, we gonna start. I know right now I'm putting it together, storyboard together. Gonna start at Yates. Now I gotta start there. That's my roots. I've started at Yates, and then we'll figure out where the next. I don't like to do a lot of locations just because I'm lazy. I just want to shoot it and get it over with. You know, I'll change clothes multiple times, but I don't. Location don't matter to me. Is what you do. So yeah, come on out there, man. We're gonna have a good time. My man Pat Guillory gonna be out there with the music, and we doing an evening shoot. So we starting at 6. We ain't shooting in the morning when it's getting hot. We shoot in the evening when it's cooling down, and then we'll even have some nighttime shots. And we gonna just have some fun, man. But I can tell you this here, they're gonna have to beat me this time. They're gonna have to beat me this time. Because last time, yeah, I did a song and a video last time, but it wasn't on this level. Now I'm finna make you mad, man. I'm finna make you mad. And we just gotta fight the battle, man. These kids they going through hell right now, bro. And even South Lawn is right across the street from a middle school. No, we can't have that foolishness going on around the kids, man.
No, absolutely. As definitely going to be one for the record. So, what else is on the menu before we get out of here? What else? What y'all want to talk about in the comment section? We usually, do Free Flow Friday with a little of everything. So, is there anything in particular that you guys want to talk about? There was something I wanted to. Oh gosh. I'm gonna find it. It's something really silly, but what do you guys have? Let me find it real quick.
I just think that we, like I told Dr. Shabazz this morning, y'all go and take a march for George, and that's great. And the elephant in the room is we can march when somebody of a different race does something to black people. We can raise up, but we need to start addressing this black on black crime. We need to start addressing it in every city across the country because it's the same. And I don't think that there's enough being done. I don't think that enough of us are screaming about the black on black crime. And if we don't do something about it, every city around here gonna turn into Chicago, and that's unfortunate. But I think we need to start addressing black on black crime. Donovan?
It's kind of funny on the earlier show. People always ask me, why do you guys do these shows and what's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. One of my good friend of mine, he's a really, really big critic. He was raccooning, way back in the day. I mean, you couldn't tell him anything like that. And he finally realized the message that we put out. And a lot of people are waking up slowly but surely. My mom is starting to see the light that this Democratic administration is not going to do anything for black people. They will do everything for everybody else and making all these excuses. And as far as addressing the crime and stuff, we need to do that. But we got to realize we have to save ourselves. Nobody's going to save us, because if you guys don't know and you haven't done your homework, Joe Biden is giving more money to police departments, as well as giving them more military equipment that is coming back from the Middle East in the war in Afghanistan, and is basically weaponizing these policemen to do what they're doing. And nobody in the Democratic Party or the administration is talking about repealing the crime bill of 1994 that Joe Biden is the author of. Without the repeal of that bill, that is the bill that incentivizes these police departments to do what they're doing. Deontay Wright was killed basically based on what that bill mandates these police departments to do. What was he stopped for? An air freshener hanging from his mirror. Then it escalates to looking for warrants, and now the young man is dead. But nobody's talking about that. So we really have to start addressing our issues within our own community and dealing with it.
Well, the George Floyd Act in the state of Texas in the legislation, it ain't even went to the calendar yet. They got 2 weeks left. What we tried to tell y'all, man. I tried to tell y'all. Donovan tried to tell you. Demetri tried to tell you. I mean, wholesale murder of black people just a thing nowadays. That's better than getting cable.
All right, so I'm going to just take a couple of topics. We're going to take a couple of seconds or minutes apiece to give an opinion. But Shakelia, how you doing? I hope I said that right. He says, so yes, I have a question. If 5-star gets on the school board, will he have time to also do his community activist work, like with his work he's going to do in South Lawn?
Nothing stops me from doing that. I run my own company. And as far as representing children, I would not be able to represent children in the Houston Independent School District. But then that's my time. That's my time to train somebody else to do it. But no, I would not stop working in my community. That's not going to happen. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not finna buy into the fancy parties. I'm not just going to sit up there to take pictures. I'm not doing that. I'm going to get up there and do the work. And then I'm going to still do the work in the community that I do. So, I mean, the thing that I wouldn't be able to do as much is travel all around the country because my obligation would be here. But I'm still going to travel. I'm still going to help. And nothing much is going to change from the way that I do things. That's my heart. I love what I do. I love being able to help people. So, no, I wouldn't stop.
All right, so I'm just going to throw this out here. This is, just to kind of liven it up a little bit, you guys. And listen, I only know what I read, right? So Portia Williams is engaged to a strange husband of Housewives of Atlanta. So I guess it was her friend's man. And listen, I'm not into the one to gossip. I just, want to hear you guys' opinion on this. So she's engaged to her friend's estranged husband. So it was a friend's husband. And now they're engaged, right? They met a month ago and now they're engaged. So the quick question I have is it okay to get with your friend's ex and even to the point of engagement? Donovan, then Gary, and then you guys in the comment section.
Absolutely not. Portia Williams has embraced thoughtism. And ever since she got rid of Cordell, she's gone from dude to dude to dude. And this is what our young women are being exposed to as these women are being influencers. It is not okay. Isn't that girl code? You don't, once that they mess with that person, you leave it alone. All I can say is this guy must have some serious gyro tongue action for this woman in a month to get engaged.
Not necessarily tongue action. He got $40 million in the bank. Portia Williams is community pussy. And let's just be honest with him. I mean, she didn't care. She didn't have home nowadays and then rationalized it and made it like it's cool to do the stuff that they do. That's why the kids so messed up.
And I just off the rip will say it is against the code, girl code, or it's just tacky. But I heard Smokey Robinson talk about this years ago because somebody asked him, because he got the song Agony and Ecstasy. And somebody really asked him about that. And he says, well, you don't belong to a person. And Nipsey Hussle actually said it best that you experience people. You don't own those people. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, well, I guess, if they're done and, whatever. Again, I would never do it. I don't think it's right. But to me, it's a question of ownership, right? Is it disgusting? Yeah, it's disgusting. But we don't own people per se, right? Clearly the friendship is over, but Gary?
Well, Bobby Womack did it.
You know what? Bobby Womack was my mama's favorite artist. In fact, we played his song at her funeral. I swear for God.
I wish you didn't trust me so much.
No, not that one. Not that one. California Dreaming. He remade that over. We played that at her funeral. All right, so let's go ahead over to the next topic. Tim Tebow is getting back into the NFL potentially. The Jacksonville Jaguars are looking at him, and the Steelers, from what I understand. Now, you guys know Tebow has not played since, 2007, 10, 12, something like that?
In about 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah. So 10 years, 2012, he's getting back into the league. He wasn't terribly good when he was in there. He, helped the Broncos win the AFC Championship and, a playoff game or something like that, but wasn't that great. But the issue is that he's getting a chance to play, but Kaepernick has not. He's been blackballed since 2016, and they've called Tim Tebow, who was controversial in his own right. They called what he was doing Tebowing because he was kneeling in homage to his Christian faith on the field. Same thing Kaepernick was doing, but, behind the wholesale murder of Black people, police brutality. But Tebow gets to come back, and he has, a pick of teams he could potentially, I guess he's going to try out for tight end. So what's your guys' opinion on that?
Pastor, you go ahead. You're the football guru.
Football is the white man's game. And they think they're not going to let a white man come back and play. Tebow, I can't be mad if the players that play in the league ain't mad about it. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't touched the NFL since Kaepernick. Don't have a desire to. I watch every now and then, but not. I would, me and football. I mean, that was my thing. But after Kaepernick, no, I'm not feeling it like that. But if the players are not upset, then why should 05 be upset? They the one got to work in that environment.
Yeah, for me, I'm just going to say this. Number one, when he had an opportunity in the NFL to switch to a different position, when that was over 10 years ago, when he's, fairly a young guy. I mean, he's like 34 years old, which is considered pretty old in the NFL. Never been a tight end before. Never, played that position, never caught a ball as a tight end. But they're going to put him in the tight end. I'm not necessarily worried because just because you sign with the team doesn't mean you're going to make it out of the you're going to make the roster, out of the preseason or whatever in the initial. So I'm not worried about it. I don't think that he can do it. But here's what we talk about by white privilege. As we know, him and the coach in Jacksonville were that was his college coach. They won 2 national championships together. But this is what we mean by white privilege. Do you see how he gets an opportunity? We've got people right there in Houston, here in California, that can ball out of control, but they don't get the opportunity because they don't have the insight. They don't have the connections. But this guy who didn't make it in football, who didn't make it in baseball, he gets an opportunity because he knows the right people. And I'm with Robin Cooper. It's hypocrisy how the NFL does this, because Colin Kaepernick can't get a shot or even get a chance to play because he took a stand, and the NFL admits that his stance was the correct stance. He can't get back in the NFL, but here's a guy who's very polarizing, does. Total bullshit, but this goes to show you white supremacy at its finest. This is an example of white supremacy, no doubt in my mind. I'm going to give a 34-year-old college quarterback, and I'll give him his due, one of the greatest probably college players that played the game in his era, right? But coming back 10 years later to play as a tight end in a position you've never played before, ain't going to happen. He won't make the roster. I don't believe he'll make the roster.
I believe he'll make the roster just to put people in the stands. I believe they're going to use his celebrity to allow him to put people in the stands. And that's just what I feel. I don't think he'll be, he's been a quarterback all his life. He ain't never really got hit. Like talking about it. Tight ends go across the middle. And I don't see him being able to take that type of punishment. But I think they'll let him make the roster just to put people in the stands.
I do too. So last scenario here. Now, I shared this. It's not even my original thought. I shared this on my page. I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. It was from Rizza Islam. You guys have seen Rizza Islam. He's on Twitter and everywhere. And, he's very thought-provoking. He's also in the new movie Buck Breaking, okay? He said the following, and this that I shared got almost 1,000 shares. Very popular. He says, I never heard a white woman say, ain't no good white man out here. And that was very controversial. There's a lot of opinions on my post about it. So Gary and Donovan, and you guys in the comments, what's your thoughts on that? I've never heard a white woman say, ain't no good men out here. What's your thoughts?
I've never heard it. I've never heard them say it. They play the game different from black women. I had this conversation a long time ago about women loving men. And, a black woman, oh, he got to do this. He got to do that. He got to love me. And then I heard a white woman say, I'll learn how to love him. To me, that's like, I'll go through whatever the hell I need to go through, but I ain't leaving it. I ain't leaving it. They don't put all them demands up at first. And that's how they stealing y'all men from y'all.
I'm going to high five that absolutely, because feminism is two different things when it comes to, especially when it comes to black women. The black woman's definition of feminism, in my opinion, is I don't need no man. And a lot of black women have bought into that, as the system also encouraged them to buy into that. Get rid of your man, we'll give you a house, we'll give you a Section 8 voucher, keep your man away and whatever. A white woman, feminism, a white woman, an Asian woman, a Hispanic woman, everybody else, they believe in feminism, but their feminism is I want to be equal to the man in pay. So if I'm a white woman and that white man is bringing home $600,000 a year, and I'm doing the same exact job as him, I want to bring $600,000 a year into my family. I'm not leaving my man. Nobody believes that or says that other than the black woman in the black community.
Well, my opinion is I've never heard a white woman say that either. And listen, just because I haven't heard it, that doesn't mean she has not said it. But I haven't heard it. And I said on my post, I said, I think the point that we're missing here is I've never seen a white woman or a white man publicly say on any social media platform, ain't no good white women out there, ain't no good white man out there. I've never seen it. I'm not saying they don't do it. But if they do it, I'm sure they do it behind closed doors. And some people say, well, I seen them in some Facebook posts. It was private and something, all of that. And I'm like, okay, y'all know what we're talking about here, and we do that. Black men and women, we have a habit of tearing each other down in public. And I don't know why we do that. And as I said, too, back in our parents' day, and our grandparents' day, they didn't take all their business to the town square and say, oh, this is what's going on in my house. And, my man ain't, they didn't do that. They, as I said, kept it behind closed doors, but we are so free to get on social media and just go there. Like, that's embarrassing to see a black man or a woman talk bad about, each other. So it's like, not that we care about what other people say, but it's like, how the hell we gonna get respect from one another, from other people? Not that it matters much, but we don't respect ourselves. It's like, golly, we got to get rid of that slave mentality of, hey, we ain't no good for each other. It was like, well, who are we good for then?
Final thoughts, Mr. Donovan.
Final thoughts are, you guys keep your head on swivel. I know it's the weekend. You guys want to turn up and if you guys are on the lookout, please, I'm putting a bolo out for all those Biden-Harris supporters and those sorority and frat people who you can't find them now. So I'm just a little concerned. So if you guys see any of them, please let the police know, because they've been missing and been awfully quiet. But in all seriousness, please keep your head on swivel. They're out there shooting black people and they are intentionally killing black people. And they're not going to wait for you to be in the streets. They're going to come right into your house.
Final thoughts, Demetri.
You guys be safe out there and have a great weekend. And yes, Kiki, I should say some black women, because all black women don't say that. But yeah, you guys have a great weekend, and thank y'all for riding with us this week on the War Zone. And we'll see you guys next week on all of our platforms. And do something fun this weekend. Safely though.
All your skin folk ain't your kinfolk. It's been a great week, man. We look forward to coming back Monday and causing good trouble like we always do. So I appreciate you guys for donating. But remember, next Saturday, we're going in, baby. We're going in to help the community. If you're available, come on out there and help us out, man. Stop talking about it. If you're going to talk like a G, you need to walk like one. And that's just the way that I feel about it. Say, man, it's a reason we the best in the business. It's the War Zone every night, 7 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K. And I am the 5-star general. Until next week, we'll holler at you.